Hi there, it's Lerald, and with the BFA pre-patch looming, here it is, the Brewmaster Monk BFA pre-patch guide. This won't cover everything about how to play the class in BFA, that'll come later, but this will cover the important stuff on how to adjust from Legion to the pre-patch. First things first, your artifact weapon is now dead. It still exists and you should still wear it, but it no longer has any traits or skills or anything cool going on. Relics still exist, but they're just item level boosts now. Where are the highest item level relics you can get your hands on? The end. One big change to Brewmasters in BFA is that attack power now scales with your weapon's DPS. This is a change to all classes in the game, but it affects Brewmasters specifically because they've spent all of Legion not really caring about weapon item level. Now they're going to want to do that again. Cool. Legion Legendaries will still work during the pre-patch too. Their legendary effects will stop functioning at level 116, which means they'll be useful all the way through the pre-patch and up until you hit the midpoint of leveling through BFA. In the case of Brewmaster Monk, this means you're going to want to keep using Sal Salabum's Lost Tunic and Stormstout's Last Gasp as your preferred pieces. Man, I am going to miss them. Alright, here's the one new ability for Brewmaster Monk. All Monk specs get a new debuff, called Mystic Touch. It's a 5% physical damage increase and it counts for everyone. Monks bring an insanely powerful, insanely boring utility to every group. Sunder Armor 2.0. And here's what's changed. Stagger now scales with agility, and it's listed as a stat on the character page just like armor or dodge chance. The scaling is complicated and Blizzard has not been interested in explaining how it scales to the community despite our constant cries for explanations and attention and buffs and so on. It seems to have some sort of diminishing returns in the 80 to 85% stagger range. It's not exactly a hard cap, you can get over 85% stagger, but not by a lot. Basically this boils down to a stagger increase, and it also makes you want to prioritize agility on gear even more than before. It's good. The base duration of Iron Skin Brew is now 7 seconds, which is a good compromise from Legion. The cooldown of your shared brew charges has been reduced all the way from 21 seconds down to 15 seconds. This is a huge buff and it will make Purifying Brew much more usable, which combos nicely with the buff to stagger scaling. It also combos nicely with the buff to Purifying Brew, which is back up to removing 50% of stagger. Breath of Fire no longer generates charges of Elusive Brawler, but it does get the damage reduction buff from the artifact weapon. This is still a nerf, and Breath of Fire is now a pretty boring ability. It's a little debuff that you try to use on cooldown, that's it. Alright, here's the talent setup you should run during the pre-patch. You can run whichever mobility skill you like most in the level 30 tier. I prefer Tiger's Lust, but you do you. In the level 60 and 75 tiers, any talent can be the best option, given the situation. For raiding, I would probably run Bob and Weave, or Dampen Harm, depending on whether I needed just more damage smoothing overall, or a defensive cooldown. For Mythic Dungeons and soloing, I'd probably stick with the extra healing from Healing Elixir, unless I needed a damage reduction cooldown from Dampen Harm. In the last tier, Blackout Combo is a much less powerful talent in terms of damage output than it was during Legion. It is still more reliable for dealing damage than High Tolerance when you're doing content that's fairly trivial, but it's nothing special now, and High Tolerance has the potential to be a lot better when you're taking a lot of damage. Both for defense, obviously, but for offense as well. Guard is tuned to absorb a lot of damage, but the 8-second duration on it makes it really not that competitive with the rest of the tier. Here's the Brewmaster Monk offensive rotation for running High Tolerance. If you are using Blackout Combo, the only real difference is that you're going to follow up Blackout Strike with Tiger Palm every time. Now should you wear Tier 21? The Tier 21 2-piece makes Breath of Fire once again grant Elusive Brawler charges. It's not super special, but it can be a decent source of damage reduction. I'd say wear it, as long as you're not giving up much item level to do so. The 4-piece still isn't great. I would say skip it unless those are your best pieces of gear. Alright, closing thoughts on Brewmaster Monk in the pre-patch. Monk still has all of the same good things going for it that it always has. It's mobile, the playstyle feels quick and responsive, you could basically drop a train on a Brewmaster Monk and they'll still walk away like nothing happened. For as long as the Legion Legendaries are still around, Brewmaster's offense feels great. Once we level up and lose them, it's gonna be frustrating to go back to the non-legendary rotation. Blizzard did such an excellent job in Legion of making the Brewmaster rotation fun and interesting. I don't want to be a negative Nelly, But all of the great ideas they had for Brewmaster in Legion are being left in Legion, and now we're going all the way back to the basics. The silver lining here is that Brewmasters feel tankier than ever, even when compared to Legion. I'm not saying they're overpowered, but they are staggering more damage than they ever have, and Purifying Brew feels a lot stronger and more satisfying in BFA than it did in Legion. Brewmasters are still great tanks. Well, I think that about covers it. If you have any questions about how to handle Brewmaster Monk in the pre-patch, ask away. We have pre-patch videos for all of the tanks, and we'll be putting together more videos in preparation for BFA release soon, so stay tuned for more great BFA content, and as always, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.